Hey, you're the straight man for this series. Why don't you come and say something serious? Well, actually, I'm having a few mental issues today, so you're all going to be affected. Sounds great! Hello and welcome back to another episode of TrekHammer, where we're talking today about Star Trek Lower Decks' latest episode. I can't remember which number it is. I think it's 5. So this one's an interesting one, and it does address some of the issues that a few people have had with Star Trek Lower Decks, where the references really seem to be the main focus. It does have a fair few references to previous episodes. For example, the main resolution comes from Star Trek The Next Generation. The other part of it comes from Star Trek The Next Generation. You see where I'm going here. So we've got some ambassadors coming on board. Typical Star Trek fare, and they're being shipped around doing various things. They're apparently keeping the party going by getting drunk and having a party on the ship while they go from one planet to another. The idea is that they're supposed to just be drunken, rowdy diplomats who are having a good time. And everyone goes insane, basically. And the idea is that everyone's supposed to think these telepathic ambassadors are the ones that caused everyone to go nuts, but it turns out they're not. It's a different telepath. It's all a big, interesting thing. Very good for character development. I was very interested in how they did that. However, for a comedy show, I didn't laugh that much, which is a bit of an issue when it's supposed to be funny. So that wasn't great, but the majority of it I thought worked very well because it's a character piece. In the end of the day, it's a character piece. It also builds up the main overarching plot for the entire season, which was quite nice. We still don't know who's destroying those ships. We have now got a bit more information because there's a photograph of it, essentially, and no one knows where it's from. So that's cool. I like that. For the most part, though, it could have done with a few more jokes, and I don't know what... It's hard to explain what I'm feeling with this one, because I like Tendi as a character. I think she's a great character, very happy, always personable, all of that. Great aspects to have in an officer. But she came across incredibly needy in this episode, which I thought was going to be explained by the fact that everyone's emotions are high and everyone's acting out of character. And yet, right at the end, she is still acting like that. She's still being very needy. She wants a person who is clearly not interested in being a BFF to be her best friend and all hugs and stuff like that. It's like, sometimes people just don't get on like that. You can still be friends, just don't hug and expect to do everything together and be like BFFs and all of that. It's like, this character who's supposed to be nice isn't taking no for an answer. I don't like that. But for the most part, it's actually not a bad story. Even though whenever Betazoids come on board on a Star Trek show, you kind of expect it to be about emotions and feelings and a little bit less interesting than some of the hard science stuff that they play around with. And yes, I did just say hard science regarding a space opera, but you know what I'm talking about. There's usually a scientific thing that they're trying to deal with, or an idea about the state of humankind, or something like that. And then all the touchy-feely stuff comes in because of the emotion characters. But none of that happened, so I was very happy in that respect. Turning out that the diplomats were actually spies was a nice twist. Really well done. I knew they were hiding something because it was obvious the way they were acting and talking to each other like they were hiding something. So I expected some kind of twist, but I didn't expect that one. So that's good. Overall, it's not a bad episode. I was expecting less, and although I didn't laugh at the jokes for the most part, I think it was all right. Tendi, however, came across not really well. So I have to say this is probably the weakest of the episodes for the season so far, and I'm going to give it a 7.5 on the warp factor scale. Warp factor 7.5, Mr. Sulu. What did you guys think of this episode? Did you think it was all right? I liked it, but not as much as some of the other ones. And I'd love to hear what you thought about it too in the comment section down below. Let's have a talk about Star Trek. I think we all like a bit of that. But that's all I've got for you today, so thank you so much for joining me. Tomorrow we've got another episode of the original Star Trek where we're going through the entirety of Star Trek from the very beginning right up to the latest episodes in quick review format like this. So do join me for that. But until next time, I've been Zoe Kirk-Robinson. You've been watching TrekHammer. Take care, live long and prosper. If you like the show, please consider supporting me on Patreon. It really does help create future videos. That's patreon.com/Zoe Kirk-Robinson. And I've got an extra special thanks going out to Chief89, Sam Yates, Retro Mickey82, Mo Henry, and George Bortorini. Thank you so much, guys.